Welcome everyone. It's the finale of the 2025 Ferry-Morse Garden Get Together. I'm your host, Rebecca. Thanks so much for joining us over the past few episodes. It's been fantastic to see Brian from Red Leaf Ranch and Caitlin from My Bowl show us their amazing gardens and all the gorgeous produce they've been growing. I can't wait to try Caitlin's green bean recipe, let me tell you. It looks delicious. But you know what's funny? There's more than just vegetables that you can grow and eat in the garden. And I'm not talking about herbs either. Believe it or not, I'm talking about flowers. Did you know that there are some flowers that are actually edible? Well, I'm gonna share some things you can do with edible flowers today on our finale episode. But first things first, it's important to know that not all flowers are edible. Only certain types of flowers are edible, and to know what those are, go on our website, ferrymorse.com. We have a blog article that'll share what edible flowers are. And we also sell a mix. One of our new wildflower and flower mixes is an edible version. So everything that's in that mix, you can feel free to eat. So, what are we gonna make today? We are going to make a cucumber Faux-Jito. Now, we're gonna make the mocktail version of this. You can certainly add alcohol to make a cocktail version if you prefer. But today we're gonna make the Faux-Jito version. You can make this as over the top or as simple as you like. I'm gonna show you the over the top version, but you can pare down whatever you like. Okay, so what makes this over the top? A couple of things. One, we're using our edible flowers to make ice cubes. This is pretty minimal effort for a huge impact. So if you're having a special occasion dinner, you're inviting friends over, this is a really fun thing to do that's really gonna put a smile on people's faces. The other little over-the-top element is making a sugar rim out of sugar crystals combined with ground up dried edible flowers. So what do we need to start with in advance? Absolutely making your edible flower ice cubes. I just took some silicone molds. You can find them at a craft store. Silicone molds in the shape of flowers. I added edible flowers. In this case, we have some Cosmos, that's the bigger ones here, and some smaller bachelor buttons. There's also at the bottom, we have some Johnny Jump Up, also known as violas. There's a number of different varieties that you could use here. The key is to use the most vibrant colored varieties that you can find so that it shows through the ice. And then making, of course, your sugar crystal. Again, you're gonna take dried flowers, dried or pressed, you're gonna grind them up and add them to sugar crystals, and that's gonna give that color to it. Again, you wanna pick the most vibrant edible flowers that you have, because once you mix it with the sugar, it's going to mute that color a little bit. So make sure you choose the most vibrant colored flowers you can find. And then the final thing you wanna prep in advance is simple syrup. So simple syrup, in this case, I'm using to create the rim for my sugar crystal, and I'm also using it to add a little bit of sweetness to the drink. Now, sweetness is really up to you if you wanna add it, if you don't wanna add it, but simple syrup is super easy to make. All you do is take equal parts water to equal parts sugar, boil it. If you'd like, you can infuse it with some herbs. It could be anything from mint to basil, rosemary, thyme. Any of those on their own make a wonderful simple syrup. Okay, so why don't we get started with how to make the cocktail. So the first thing you wanna do is start with your rim. So you're gonna dip the glass into your simple syrup, so you have it already in front of you in a shallow dish, just like that. Now let it drip off a little bit, and then you're going to dip it into the sugar and turn it around gently. There you go. Beautiful little addition of color and flavor to your rim. Okay, so from here we're gonna start the muddling process. So what's muddling? Muddling is when you take something fresh like cucumber, lime, herbs in this case, and you put pressure on it in the bottom of the glass, and that's gonna squeeze the juices out of it. Now in this case, I actually am going to use a muddler, but if you don't have a muddler, which is a specialized cocktail tool, you can just use a wooden spoon and just press it down with a wooden spoon as well. So first we're gonna take our cucumbers for our cucumber Faux-Jito, and we're gonna chop about 4 thick slices or so. You can't really mess it up. This is a no measure recipe. You can add as many as you'd like. We're gonna add that to the bottom of the glass. We're also gonna add about a teaspoon of simple syrup or to taste. And then we're going to muddle that at the bottom of the glass. And that's just gently pressing this so that the juices release. You do wanna make sure you're gentle because you don't wanna break the glass. Okay, now we're gonna add lime. Now in my case, I like things that are really tart, but if you don't need to use a half a lime, just use maybe a quarter. But in my case, I like very sour drinks, very acidic. So I'm gonna add a full half a lime. And then again, I'm gonna muddle, just gonna press it down gently, release some of the juices. And you'll start to get a nice syrup on the bottom of the glass. Okay, now it's time to add in the mint. So you want to add a good handful. Again, you can't really go wrong. It's a nice fresh taste. You're gonna muddle that at the bottom of the glass with the rest of the juices that you already have. That's gonna add a really nice, fresh taste. Absolutely perfect for a hot summer day. Really refreshing. Okay, you can see all that fresh juice we've created at the bottom of the glass here. And so now is the time that we wanna add our ice cubes. And once again, you do not have to make these ice cubes. If you want something simple, no problem. It's gonna taste just as delicious. I just love to make these because they're really fun and easy. And you're gonna drop them in. Again, I have got in these bigger flower shapes, I have Cosmos. And then in the little flower shapes, I have Bachelor buttons. And I've picked ones that are contrasting colors so that you really see something interesting in the glass. Okay, we have everything except the final ingredient, which is club soda. And if you want the alcoholic version, then add 2 ounces of rum as well. But in this case, I'm making a Faux-Jito. So I'm just going to top this off with some club soda. Just kind of tilt the glass to the side and carefully pour. Looks amazing. Okay, I'm gonna give it a quick stir just to make sure I blend all those flavors. And I'm gonna show you a way to make this even more over the top because I can't help myself. Okay. How about adding another garnish? This is borage flower. They're really pretty, they're dainty, it's violet purple in color, and they look very sweet and delicate on top of the beverage. But what's really interesting about these is that they actually taste like cucumber. They really do. If you try these, blind taste test, you'll be shocked. They taste exactly like cucumber. And it goes perfectly with this drink. Now, who wouldn't be excited to get a glass of this on a hot summer's day? Looks amazing. All right, I'm gonna try it. It's delicious. You have to give this a shot. It's really, really good. Really refreshing. And you can make this with stuff you grow in your own garden, including flowers. I hope you enjoyed this demo, and I hope you've enjoyed the garden get-together with us this season. It's been a lot of fun. Please go to Ferry-Morse.com and take advantage of that 25% off coupon. Use the code TOGETHER on Ferry-Morse.com for 25% off your order. Thanks again for joining us. I'm Rebecca. Happy gardening. Have a wonderful gardening season.